The next item, Your Worship, is item 10, the correspondence from Doug Osman of the Lower Lonsdale Business Association, dated November the 26th, 2013.
Councillor Keating.
I would move option 3 in Mr. Orr's information report, which is a referral to the county petition process.
Thank you. Councillor Buchanan.
Second.
Councillor Keating.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. This is not a motion to move forward on the expenditure of any money. This is a motion to go out for the BIA to go out and LLBA to go out and consult on the idea of a BIA. And I've heard the concerns that somehow what they're not getting is a positive mandate here. I've been in municipal politics for 15 years, and I understand one thing. No is the iron law. If you want to motivate people, tell them to have a chance to come out and say no to things. So in many respects, the BIA or the LLBA is putting themselves in a hole by inviting people to come out and say no. So I think we're going to have a fairly democratic process here that will give us a good indication of where businesses are in Lower Lonsdale, and I'm proud to support it. Thank you very much. And I would like to say thanks to the LLBA for all the volunteer hours and for the folks who stayed here this evening.
Councillor Buchanan, would you like to speak?
Sure. Thank you very much, Your Worship. I too would like to thank the LLBA for the work that they've done over the numerous years, but particularly in the last 2 years in moving the BIA forward. I do think as well that this is an opportunity for those owners who don't want to participate. Then it's going to motivate them to come out and vote in opposition. I do think this is a very good opportunity for the Lower Lonsdale business area. I think that we're in a time of transformation down there. They have done a tremendous amount of work as volunteers, but I think we're moving to another level and another stage in that particular area of our community. So I think this is from an economic perspective, from a business perspective, from a community perspective, these are all good things and will fit very nicely with the other work that we're doing down at the shipyards in Lower Lonsdale, and I think it's successful, and I hope it is, that all those pieces together is going to make for a very vibrant, energized area for our community. Thank you very much.
Councillor Clark.
Well. Here we are 3 years or so after the first BIA was proposed. That one went down in flames. This one apparently is going down in flames. And as a rescue mission, they're coming with a negative position. Oh, unless you get up off of your chair and come storm the Bastille and say no, then it's going ahead. Well, is that democratic? Is that how votes happen? Normally you vote in favor of something, not in a negative capacity. It's not anybody but, it's I'm voting for this. And if they can't sell it in Lower Lonsdale, I'll be damned if I'm going to stand there and say you can do it by this negative petition. It's simply wrong. It's undemocratic. I spoke against the $60,000 which was given to the LLBA to get this process going, and I haven't changed my mind. Thank you.
Councillor Haywood.
Thank you, Worship. So we've invested 60 grand in this. We've also invested more money in the branding exercise. You heard the consultant we retained for the branding exercise, and I've heard him talk about BIAs as a key part of the sustainability model for the ongoing support of any branding plan. I think it would be folly and irrational to abandon this as sunk cost, and particularly given the because our money has been matched many times over by the volunteer effort of a group of concerned citizens. So then to be tactical about this, at worst, we are seeing a part of the business community fund their own collective requirements. They're going to produce common goods like either an advertising program or a program to support employees, and the city won't have to do that, or they're going to promote an awareness program that the city's not going to have to take from the general tax base to support. So tactically, at worst, we're just getting out from under the responsibility that we've borne to fund these programs. At best, it's going to be outrageously successful, like 77% of the other BIAs, and actually put Lower Lonsdale on the map with Yaletown and with West Forth and with the other neighborhoods that we need to gain profile and see ourselves as a part of. I take this, if the business community there is brave enough to take this on as a personal charge to reduce business taxes lower, because they're showing responsibility and basically taking responsibility for those expenditures the city has had to take on themselves. So I think it is democratic, because if the opposition does get off its derriere and decide that they don't like it, they can overturn it. But I'm always going to be on the side of the engaged. And so that, for that reason, I support.
Councillor Booker.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to have seen some evidence of that engagement after spending $60,000 after the initial effort to create a BIA, and then this past year, the effort that has been made. I would like to have seen more people who clearly support this effort, or more evidence coming from the speakers tonight of support for this effort. If they could come to us and say, well, we have had personal conversations with 200 businesses of the 660, and these people understand what we're trying to do and are fully supportive. That would be the evidence that would allow me to consider moving forward in this fashion. I have real difficulty with imposing costs on individuals through this sort of negative billing approach. Where I've seen attempts of this sort in the past, it has always seemed to me somehow manipulative at best, and perhaps deceptive in the very worst light. And I do not doubt for a moment the sincerity of those people who've spoken tonight and the people who clearly have come in support, but they don't represent significant enough numbers, and there's no evidence other than the anecdotal evidence of what has happened in other jurisdictions. And that may well be the case, but I'd like to see much more clear-cut, unequivocal support to go ahead and test it out. I feel that given the resources that have been provided by the city and the time that you have had, you should at very least have been able to demonstrate that tonight to council's satisfaction, and you haven't brought this councillor on board. Thanks.
Councillor Bell.
Yes, I share the concern about the counter-petition approach. It's not one that I like. I'm somewhat swayed by the arguments that have come that this is the process that is used, and that once they're in place, the BIAs are supported. And the underlying concern I have, I guess, is that we, our council as a body, has taken some steps both through the branding and through through the support we've given to the Lower Lonsdale Association so far to try and really energize, revitalize the Lower Lonsdale area. And I think it's key to our overall park. So somewhat reluctantly, I will support the motion. I don't like the reverse approach. I do think it's not democratic, but I think that we're at the stage where we've got to try and make this work down there, because the whole challenge is to make the Lower Lonsdale area vibrant, and I'll support it for that purpose.
Thank you, Councillor Bell. I too will be supporting this. First of all, you just have to look at the work that the LLBA has done over the last, I don't know how many, 10 or more years, hosting many events, all volunteer. Tremendous amount of time has gone in to support not just the businesses that are volunteering, but the businesses in the area. And I think that shows a long track record of a lot of good people doing good work, taking over from the city when we had the fall festival or we had the party at the pier. The LLB has always stepped forward and done that, and there's some great leadership. And Bill, I know you're the current chair of that, and I want to thank you for that. If you could thank the organization. I think I also really feel compelled to point out that there's some amazing businesses in Lower Lonsdale. People think you have to go somewhere else to get the quality, but you don't. If you look at Francesca's for clothing, you just have to look at SCOA for facial treatments, or Anatoli's for great food, or even Menchie's that adds to my waistline, and I try to stay out as much as I can. But they do. It's a place, and you always see lineups there. And I think that there's great quality businesses there that deserve to be supported by locals. and we don't have to go somewhere else. We can support our local economy here. And I think by them really trying to put this business improvement association together so that they can decide how those tax dollars, I think Councillor Haywood was talking about that, Councillor Buchanan, I know, about having some ability to direct exactly where they want to put those funds, I think is a really wonderful thing. And what goes hand in hand with that is, again, I've heard loud and clear that we have quite a high business tax rate here in the city, so I'm going to hopefully try to do a 0% tax increase for businesses again this year. I think that would show support from the city that, okay, we're getting a bit of an increase because you're BIA, but if the city can manage to do a 0% tax increase for businesses again, I think that would show that we support local businesses, that we know that local businesses doing well means everybody does well. And that Buy Local program is good, Buy BC program is excellent. Let's support our local people here and our local entrepreneurs in a big way. Lower Lonsdale, and I would love to see that expand eventually to Central Lonsdale, maybe along Marine Drive, so that we can really get a vibe happening here that really supports the local business. So I'm totally in support of. I want to thank you for the time and effort you've put into this, and I hope it's successful at the end of the day. Councillor Keating, wrapping up. Poll vote's been requested, please.
Yes, Your Worship. So on item 10, we'll have a poll vote. Start with Councillor Haywood. Councillor Bookham. Councillor Buchanan. Councillor Keating. Councillor Clark. Mayor Masato.
Yay.
And Councillor Bell. So the motion is carried 5-2.
Thank you. Next item, please.